My husband Chris and I met in San Francisco, and we lived there for 8 years, during which time we had 2 children and opened a bookstore on Potrero Hill. Then made a decision to fulfill my husband's dream of becoming a dairy farmer. Originally, we looked at some local farms and in Oregon and Washington, but made the ultimate decision that New Zealand was probably the best place to go because my husband Chris is from New Zealand. In 1994, we moved to New Zealand, and well, my husband had gone the February before that, bought the farm, and we all moved there the end of May 1994. At the time, we had 2 children and a third on the way. We got there. We were brand new to this business, even though my husband grew up in New Zealand. He had not been a farmer. When we first moved there, we loved it. The sense of excitement, and everything was all so new, and for me, also very quaint. But my husband really questioned whether we'd made the right decision and was sort of wanting to move back to New Zealand that first 6 months. I said, no, let's stay. Move back to San Francisco, sorry. And I said, no, let's stay. And we stayed. And he absolutely loved his job. And the farm started thriving. We bought a second farm, hired some people, bought a third farm. And at one point, we were milking about 800 cows and over the 3 farms. And he loved his job. We had decided to move back to America after we came here for a visit, looked at one another and said, oh, we love San Francisco. Why did we move? And immediately got back and started thinking about coming back. Originally, we were just coming to move here for 18 months minimum, just to have an American experience as a family. So we didn't really think much about the future. We were thinking more, I guess, just about that time. So we didn't really think about how this would work in the long term. But then the next thing we knew, we were settling in to Mill Valley and realizing we were going to be staying here. And since we decided to stay, we just figured that I would go back to work here and my husband would go back to New Zealand to the farms just on those occasions that it's very important, such as during calving season and during drying off season and when they're making silage. Sometimes it's kind of hard when he goes just because he misses oftentimes the busiest times on the farm are also the busiest times at school. But he's always here for the super important bits. And it's just what our life is, and we've accepted it, and it works. When the girls were young, it was kind of actually very difficult because I was going to commuting full-time to school over in Berkeley, and I actually had to hire somebody out called Rent-A-Parent, and it was just a babysitting firm. And so that was really hard when they were younger. In the early days, it was more just kind of a busy, difficult time. But now, as like I said, the children have gotten more independent. It's more of an emotional, difficult time. When we were first starting out, I would sort of have to sometimes even just go away with the girls on our little family break, just on our own. When my husband is home, he's kind of like the house dad. And then when he's gone, we talk on the phone mostly, email sometimes. I think that this arrangement actually works wonderfully with my husband and I. Ever since we've done this, we have probably questioned our decision almost on a daily basis. And so then when he comes back, we just go back to what we were doing before, and as though he's never left. It's a life that we've kind of grown up with, and we